Testing, 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 testing. Yes, indeed. Oh, it's been a month, and here we are in a new environment. So I hope this isn't too dark. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to what we call Cast Iron Wednesday. This, of course, is a regular occurrence on a lot of these YouTube cooking channels. Every Wednesday, a lot of them do a video, well, just that, about cooking in cast iron, or identifying cast iron or cleaning cast iron, basically playing around with cast iron cookware. And my channel is one of many that have done that, and just making sure so far that the sound is okay, because yeah, we are using something of a new setup here. But yes, I can only say that well, we've been doing Cast Iron Wednesday now for good grief, it is just about 2 years. This might even be our second anniversary, in fact. So this is a nice way to celebrate it, because yes, indeed, it's true. Welcome to my new kitchen, everybody. Yes, I spent the last month essentially preparing to move to a new home in a new state. It's been one of the most chaotic months of my entire life, and I mean that in pretty much any way you want to define chaos. But here is the end results. Here we are once again, where we have a lot more room, not to mention a new stove and, in fact, a new kitchen here. Yeah, in fact, things have been so crazy that I've barely gotten my packing undone. Well, that's not true. My clothes are unpacked. Just about all of my kitchen items are unpacked, except for one crucial part, namely the cast iron. I mean, it took quite a bit of effort to move a few 100 pounds of cast iron from Massachusetts to New York. And now that it's all in here, there are so many things to do around this place, and I still have not had a chance to rebuild my cast iron racks, but I'm hoping to do that within next couple of weeks. I could go on and on about the fact that there are 1,000 things to do in this new place, but I'm sure those of you who own your own homes are very familiar with that. I mean, I could look around, point in any direction here, and see that there's something that needs to be done. For starters, what are these things on the wall here? It looks like they must have pulled something down and put some plaster in to patch them up. So among other things, at some point or another, that's going to have to be painted, or maybe put a picture over it or something. And that's only one of many, many things that need to be done. Oh, God, did things need to be done here. I've been going to bed exhausted every night, in fact, which is one reason why, excuse me, I'm very much looking forward to tonight, because we get to relax, relatively speaking, and finally do some cooking in cast iron. So thank you very much to everybody who was patient enough to wait all this time, while it seems like the last three Cast Iron Wednesday videos were unfortunately canceled for one reason or another. So John Vincent, I've always had gas for cooking. How are you liking the gas range? So far, as I said, it's been so busy, I've only been able to use the stove once, but man, that was fun. I started learning how to cook 12 years ago in 2010, and I lived in 2 apartments since then, and in both instances I had a cheap electric stove. I wanted a gas range. Boy, did I want to use a gas stove. And so that was certainly one of the major considerations about where I would end up moving out here. And so we're going to be playing with this in just a few minutes. So I moved from a high-tax state to another high-tax state. Yes, I did. So in that respect, the taxes are not going to seem that much different. One reason why I moved out here is that the real estate prices are incredibly different. Let's put it this way. The amount I paid for this house, this single family 2-story house here in mid-state New York, I would have easily paid probably a quarter of a million to a third of a million for in Massachusetts. So we're talking like anywhere from 2 to 3 times what I paid for this. That's one reason why I had to move out here. Yeah, it's gotten that crazy in Massachusetts, but that is a completely different subject. Anyway, nonetheless, as well, hello to everybody too. Hello, Val's Black Cats Rules. Nice to see you again. And Cynthia Wesley, One Pan Man. Do you have a garden space where you can grow fresh produce? I have a lawn. I have an outdoor area. So potentially there can indeed be a garden space. And I certainly want to make an attempt to grow herbs out there to see how well that turns out. Oh, legal herbs, by the way. Sorry, I'm not that fancy. It's one of many things I have never done before, unfortunately. That includes growing my own greens. Hello, roadside assistance guy. No, unfortunately, I am here by myself here in New York. Well, me and the cats. So that's because, well, we were not a couple. We were not married or engaged or boyfriend, girlfriend, or anything like that. And so I really, like it or not, it was necessary to go our separate ways, although we did so on a good and friendly basis. So, and hello as well, everybody else. Hello, Red Dog. I think you're going to enjoy that gas range. Well, I certainly hope so. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But yes, and Rick Stumbow and Dr. M. And yes, hello, fancy that. Hello, everybody. William Hurt, Hippie Longshanks, and Pipgorn. And boy, a lot of people have been talking over the past hour in this chat. Well, that's very nice of you. Okay, so rather than just chat on and on and on, because I mean, the whole point here, of course, is for us to play with cast iron. And boy, as I said, this is going to be relaxing compared to some of the stuff that's happened over the past few days. So, last night I christened this stove by cooking a steak, and boy, was I happy about that. But I mean, to be fair, I mean, how many steak cooking videos are there in cast iron? I'm sorry, in YouTube. So thousands, probably at least any dozens more steak cooking videos showing up here every day. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love steak. Last night's steak I thought turned out to have pretty good. I posted a very brief clip of that on TikTok and immediately was roasted for it. That looks terrible. You let the juices run out. Well, that was partly because the steak, of course, was cooked in oil and butter in a cast iron skillet rather than out there on the grill. So no, there are no grill marks on it. You have to admit that. Yet, I had certainly no complaints with how the steak turned out. Buckshot MC, get out of here, commercials. Is somebody spamming this channel? It doesn't look like it. Oh, hello, Anne. Hello, Anne DeResta. Will your cats be helping you today in the kitchen? Well, my cats have certainly been helping me, helping for the past few days. I'll say that much. I mean, those of you who are on Facebook probably know the adventure Trouble has already had when he got into the ceiling. So, and he really gave me quite a scare last night, but everything turned out fine. He is out here doing what he does best, namely causing trouble. So, and likewise, Miss Mobley too. She is more out and about. When initially she was actually pretty, yeah, she was pretty frightened, in fact, and hid behind one of the radiators for her entire first day here. But as I said, she is doing much better now, out and about. And hello, Christine Jackson. You still going to the swap meet where you buy your cast iron? Oh, no, you're talking to somebody else. My apologies. I had to wait for ads to stop. Sorry. You're coming in loud and clear here. Well, I'm very glad to hear that, Papa Dan, because that's one thing is that I have to use a Wi-Fi connection here. There at this moment, anyway, there's no direct connection. However, I am running actually on a gigabyte Wi-Fi service, and I did upgrade my router to a gigabyte capacity router. So hopefully that means that this should still continue uninterrupted, even though we are on Wi-Fi. As you can see, I had to use the handheld mic again. Okay, having said all that, let's actually start looking at some cast iron. And I know you folks want to take a look at my kitchen. As I said, pretty much there's a whole bunch of things still lying around here because I have not really had the time to unpack and arrange everything. But nonetheless, yes, we do indeed have the new stove here. And over in the corner at this point, I put out my mixer, that crock I have, which is an older 19th century cast iron pan. Move over to a really nice to a nice large dual sink, and it has, as you can see, it has windows here that open up, which is a good thing because there is no fan over this stove here. There is only a microwave, so that means we are going to actually have to use this ceiling fan here to help blow the smoke out of the window, which incidentally the light in that ceiling fan doesn't work. So yeah, that's what I mean. There are a whole bunch of little things that need to be done here, which means I also have to figure out how to get the lighting to work right. But there is one thing I do have as well, and that is an island. I actually have an island in this kitchen, so there's definitely more room, and as such, I'm really looking forward to making use of this room. So as I said, I have not even had a chance to unpack most of the cast iron yet. The microwave is fan also, isn't it? I'll have to take a closer look. Maybe you're right. I honestly don't know. Told you, it's been so busy, I haven't really had a chance to look closely. But now that I've said all that, let's see. Even though I didn't unpack most of my cast iron, let's see what we do have to play with tonight. Are you renting or did you buy this place? Well, upon the advice of some very dear friends, I actually took the plunge and bought it outright. So that with any luck, assuming no disasters happen, of course, I'll be able to actually retire and spend the rest of my life here, I hope. So which also means I've got to keep this place in good condition. But I can't, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be coming back to that subject again and again. Okay. Now, the first thing I did really the day I walked into this place was christen this with one of my favorites. I mean, quite a few of my favorites, of course, and that is the Finex 12-inch cast iron skillet, which I'm going to be putting some use into tonight. And also, I had a chance to use this other special pan. And this one I've actually have not shown this much on live, and that is the Diamond 8 pan. Oh, do we have spots on on this? Oh, that must be a reflection from the light. Okay. Anyway, the Diamond 8 pan, which actually is believed to be one of the very last generations or models of cast iron pans produced by Favorite Stove and Range in the late 1930s. They were bought out by Chicago Hardware Foundry around this time. And it is believed, unfortunately, there's no solid evidence. This is technically an unknown pan, but it is believed that Favorite produced these pans with the diamond number size here as their last run of pans before they were fully producing them for CHF, Chicago Hardware Foundry. Now, that pan there, in fact, was my grandmother's pan on my dad's side, on my father's side. Several years ago, before he passed on, he actually took his mother's two cast iron pans, and both of them were so thick and encrusted with seasoning that you couldn't tell anything at all about them. And he asked me to clean them up, so I did. I ran them through electrolysis for about 3 days or so, and completely stripped them. And that's what that one turned out to be. It turned out to be the Diamond 8. The second pan was a 6-inch made in Taiwan skillet, which I believe I still have in my collection as well. It's somewhere in all of these boxes. Now, rebuilding the cast iron rack, I'm hoping will happen within the next week or so. It can't be this weekend, unfortunately, because I have another major project that has to take priority, and that would be laying down carpet in the bedroom so that I can actually put a bed in there. Yeah, told you there are 1,000 things to do. So, William Hurt, you also have an 8 in diamond pan. Well, congratulations. And yeah, you have spots on the as well as lightning areas on the bottom. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I think these spots are precisely because I cooked with gas for the first time on this last night. So that I have a learning curve in front of me, in fact, that is how to properly take care of my cast iron as well as cooking with gas. And so, broken machine. 5 years ago, I watched a video on this channel and 9 Inch Nails t-shirt. Oh, yeah. So, okay, well, thank you very much. And yeah, that actually was something of a joke in itself. So how do you spell that name is a cast iron pan? I'm sorry. Oh, favorite diamond. Yes, that's what you're talking about. Yes. I will say again one more time. This is believed to be favorite stove. Nobody has any documentation to absolutely prove it, but it is believed to be a favorite. And I see no reason not to go with it. It is very smooth. Okay, now that we have said all that, hello, Honey Badger. You're also in the process of buying my first house. Yeah, good luck to you as well. As you can see, I mean, oh man, when I said this was a chaotic month, I'm sure you're going through the same thing. But okay, having said all that, let's actually start having some fun, shall we? So first thing second. First thing is I've got to get this cord for the microphone out of the way, of course. But two things. Number one, let's actually do something here that I have wanted to do for years. And that, of course, would be this. There we go. We're cooking with gas, folks. Turn this down a little bit. And now in the back. There we go. We have 2 gas burners going. So yeah, I'm definitely happy about that. Let's put the Finex over here on the first one. Now, as these things are heating up, it's time to start some preparations, shall we? Because, as I mentioned already in the title to this video, there we go. Yeah, that's what I mean. I've got to learn everything about the camera angles and everything else. Nonetheless, what we've got right now is, here it is. I cut up a nice bowl of chicken thighs as a starter because from here we are going on. Oops, change this over a little bit. There we go. Nice bowl of chicken thighs as a starter because, in fact, we're making a chicken dish that is definitely local. Vroom, vroom. Oh, we still have the vroom, vroom here. We have a chicken dish that is definitely local here in this part of New York where I'm now living. And those of you who live in the area of Binghamton have heard of Spiedies. Now, the thing about the speedy is it's all about the marinade, namely that you can use chicken or you can use beef, and actually lamb was the original speedy, but it's all the same. Basically, you marinate it in a particular type of recipe, and I like this really because it uses a lot of vinegar. So yeah, this is definitely very appealing to me. As such, we're going to be doing this, and then we are going to be cooking this in those 2 cast iron pans that I'm heating up. So let's get started, shall we? Now, this recipe is available online. If you look up Lupo, L-U-P-O, they are one of the more famous speedy makers. And their recipe is online, and it is very, very simple and easy to do as well. So, I mean, this is not going to take long at all, thank goodness. Okay, which means we have to start out with about 1/3 cup of olive oil. Then to this, we throw in about 1/4 cup of vinegar. Now, they say white vinegar, but I prefer to use my all-time favorite vinegar, which is apple cider vinegar. And then from there, we also throw in a little lemon juice. So yeah, this is definitely acidic. And nice thing, though, is that we're not actually putting any hot sauce in this. I mean, this is about all the heavy spice that we're going to be using here. The rest of it is very simple. from here, we throw in a little bit of garlic powder. Technically, they use cloves of garlic, but I'm afraid I am out of the. I don't have fresh cloves of garlic in my refrigerator yet. That my refrigerator is just about empty, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. So yeah, I've got a lot of stocking up to do yet. And then from there, we throw in, of course, some salt. Next comes some ground black pepper. My pepper grinder is still needs to be unpacked as well. There we go. And then from there, as you can see, none of these spices are anything out of the ordinary, are we? Are they? Especially we are now throwing in about a tablespoon each of, I have to turn this off, get this off here. There we go. Parsley. And then after parsley, we've got basil. Yeah, I took my spices with me, at least the ones that I would not be able to immediately replenish at the dollar store. So, I mean, I've got these nice large containers here, and oregano. And, you know, as a matter of fact, that's about it. But especially with all that vinegar and lemon juice in here, that actually gives it a very unique flavor. So one that they really like here in Binghamton, to the point where after this thing has marinated for several hours, as I said, we're just going to cook it in a hot pan. And typically with Spiedies, a lot of apparently the tradition is to just cook it and then eat it without sauce. You just taste the actual marinated and cooked meat. Although I'm sure a lot of people just still drown their Spiedies in sauce anyway, just because that's what people do. So what can you say? Okay, my iron do get darker faster on gas. And it's as simple as that. And then from there, we're going to throw this into the refrigerator for several hours. But don't worry, folks. Hold on. Give me just a second, and I'll be right back. Because, in fact, I already prepared these in advance. So during my lunch break at work, I actually took the time to marinate some chicken already using that same recipe. So we've actually jumped forward in time for several hours now. And this is how they actually do these Spiedies. In that after marinating the meat for several hours, as you can see, they put it into bite-sized pieces and put them on skewers. And then from there, we will be cooking these in the hot cast iron pan. Of course, in most cases, they use a grill, but there's certainly nothing wrong with using a cast iron pan. And then after it's cooked, we just simply fill up sandwiches with these. Namely, we stick the skewer into a sandwich bun and pull out the skewer, and we are ready to eat. So this, again, is what they call a speedy here in the area of Binghamton, New York. The first time I actually tried a speedy, in fact, was when I was down visiting a friend who still lives in the area. She's not a next door neighbor, but she's close. And there was this street festival going on. She pretty much forced me to go and try a speedy. And that's what I said. I went up to the vendor and said, "Hi, I'm from out of state, and my friend is forcing me to try a speedy for the first time." And the food vendor's response, "Awesome." And I had my first speedy, and I have never looked back. So, okay. So anyway, this is what we've got. So now comes the fun part. That means it's time to move back to the stove. Let's see if we can get a good angle here. There we go. Now that we've done that, it's time to have some fun. There we go. There we go. That should do nicely. Boy, the quality of this lighting is so. I think I need to check my camera, in fact. So, That is why I'm good. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is definitely, since this is the first live video since the move, I can see there are still more things that need to be done. I think I should probably check my camera lens as well as definitely work on the lighting. Nonetheless, I don't think we're doing too badly here. So that means we get to pull our Spiedies. And let me step over to the other side of the wire here. At which point, we are now ready to have some fun. And it's as simple as this. Actually, this isn't working, is it? No, nuts. This skewer here is too big that it can't contact the plate, the pan. I did not consider that. Okay, that means I'm going to have to change my plans a little bit, but just a little bit. All right. How to do this? I guess we're going to have to do it the hard way. Usually they just simply lay the skewer. If I used one of my longer pans, I'll bet it could do that. But right now, let's not waste any time. By the way, there's so much oil in in this marinated meat that I did not even need to oil the pan. Over here. And boy, that didn't take long to heat up, did it? There we go. That was actually still pretty simple. A little bit. There we go. Funny, the back one seems to be smoking a little more. I wonder if it's because that's a thin cast iron pan versus the thicker Finex. Hold on, I had better quickly dig out my tongs because I can see we're going to have to turn these. Anyway, while we are doing this, let me pull out, where did I put my mouse? There it is. All right, let's check here, shall we? Okay, what about a griddle pan? Yes, a griddle pan would certainly work, I think. The next time I make these Spiedies, I'm going to use one of my longer oval-shaped pans, like, for instance, um, the BSR fish fryer, for example. Turn it over. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm about to do right now. Again, because these things are marinated, they're not going to have quite the same color you might have with fried chicken. Because marinating actually, oh man, that's hot. Boy, I can feel that on my, wow. Yes, indeed. So that's gas cooking. Okay, then I guess we'll just have to do it this way. And yeah, this is not taking long at all, is it? Look at this. We're starting to get a crust and everything. I got to be careful it doesn't burn. However, it looks like we may indeed have some char. As I said, this is not how they traditionally make the Spiedies. They normally leave it on the skewer. But yes, as you said a minute ago, a longer pan, the next chance I get, I will use a longer pan, like maybe the Lodge, the big Lodge fish fryer or the BSR fish fryer. It's nice to be able to have these kind of choices, isn't it? However, things are looking good already. Just got to be careful, of course. It's chicken. I mean, we can't undercook it. But one reason why I chose chicken is because it's so easy to cook, much easier than pork, for instance. And yeah, this is not taking long at all, is it? Boy, we're only half an hour into this, so still. Shorter ones in a number 5. He's rolling solo, don't have to cook for 2. Well, there is that, yes, I admit. And they had a Lodge enamel griddle for $39. No oil plus all of that acid. That's playing guts ball in your Finex. Yeah, I know. There is the possibility that this could affect the seasoning. Well, what it means is that I'm going to have to wash these things out pretty much as soon as they cool off. Can't waste any time, unfortunately. But damn, these things are looking good. I mean, we've got a nice brown color on them, and it looks like they are already starting to get some of that char or caramelization. So this really is not so hard. I mean, I might even say this might be a weeknight dish. You saw how easy it was to prepare that marinade. On the other hand, if you go to Price Chopper or Market 32, they sell bottles of this marinade from New York, and it has the label of one of the towns here in mid-state New York, Oneonta. And that, in fact, is only about an hour's drive from Binghamton. Why they call it Oneonta and not Binghamton, I don't know. But nonetheless, if you go and look for the Oneonta brand marinade, you will see that there is one that specifically says Spiedies on it, which really means all you have to do is put your chicken in a bowl, dump the marinade in and mix it around, let it rest in the fridge for several hours, and you're ready to cook. And as I said, this is not taking long at all. I'll say again, we've got the favorite, possible favorite, the Diamond 8 skillet here in the back. I noticed the smoke has cut down too, now that we're actually getting somewhere. And in the front is the modern day Finex cast iron skillet. So I'm also glad that it used two pans, though. I mean, I didn't crowd the pans here, and they're both turning out very nicely. I'm liking this. This is not difficult at all. However, what's going to happen next? Well, once these are all set, I've got something else that is a little, I guess you could say, non-traditional for Binghamton Speedies, but nonetheless, I'll show you in just a few minutes. Boy, look at this. This looks pretty darn good, if you ask me. Likely. Oh, yeah, that's right. When I cook chicken in a stir-fry method like this, I can tell when the chicken is done, when it is no longer rubbery and bouncy, and when you can cut a piece of the chicken in half just using your spatula or your spoon. You know, like that. Which means, especially since I don't want to burn these, I think we are just about done here. So I repeat, this is not quite traditional because I had to take them off the skewers. On the other hand, I don't think anybody would complain about these. So that means I've got to get quickly grab a serving plate or dish or bowl. Give me one quick second, folks. Okay. There we are. I think we should try putting it on the other side. There we go. I think that maybe not. Well, okay, I'll just do what I have here. So long since I've used this. Come on. Been so long since I've used this mic stand. I forgot I have to keep the mic stand nearby. Hope you didn't miss too much of my talking. And a little bit here. Also, I used chicken thighs because I love dark meat. Wow, that is hot, boy! I can feel my fingers beginning to burn just by putting them over here. Oof. This is definitely going to be a learning curve. This is not the same. Boy, is it ever not the same. In fact, I'm going to turn off that back burner. This is not the same as an electric stove, that's for sure. Wow. So that was the second time I've cooked on my gas stove. I still have this on because I've got something else I have about to do, but nonetheless, here are our Spiedies. And I can see as well why they call it speedy. That sure did not take long at all, did it? Okay, now that we've done that, as I said, I've got something else to do. This is a little bit different, and I got to do this quickly before this stuff burns in the pan. So, now here's the different part, and I hope this doesn't get me kicked out of town. What are these? These are chicken skins that I marinated in the speedy marinade. You see, I mean, I took out, as I mentioned, I used dark meat. I used chicken thighs. And I essentially marinated the whole thing. Let me do this again. I marinated the whole thing here, skin and all, and then actually cut the skin off after it had marinated. So as a result, I've got a whole bunch of marinated chicken skin. Now, I could just throw it out, but why do that? So even though, as I said, this may get me kicked out of town for doing this because I'm actually defying tradition by doing this, I think, nonetheless, let's fry up some speedy chicken skin and see how it turns out. Because why not? Well, for starters, look at all the smoke. That's why not. Here. Wow. Let's move around quickly. Oh, good. It looks like the smoke is already starting to dissipate a little bit. I'm betting it's not going to take long at all to do this because it is just chicken skin. I should probably do it until the skin gets nice and crispy. So I don't know what you want to call it. Speedy skin, maybe? Funny, that sounds like something you might want to download to a cell phone. But yeah, this is not taking long at all. Look at this. Besides, who doesn't like chicken skins? Whoa. Note to self, I'm using a live flame here. Wow. Yeah, definitely learning to cook on this gas stove is going to be something different. Of course, there's a lot of liquid in the pan here too. I don't know. Maybe I should try draining out some of this liquid. Anyway, while we're doing this, especially since the smoke has gone down a little bit, let's see here. What do we have here? Yeah, not W got 6 and 7 inches of rain. Ouch! My condolences for that. Don't like skin, says Janet Bautista. Well, yeah, it is true. It's different for everybody. That's why a lot of people like only white meat as opposed to dark meat as well. Look for a fan button on the microwave. Well, I do see one that says vent fan. Well, let me try that and see what happens. Hey, lo and behold, you're right. It worked. Thank you very much. I honestly did not know that. Let me put the camera up here. I honestly did not know that. I have never had a chance to use this kind of a stove before. Well, that actually makes me feel good, knowing that there is still a vent fan here on this. Thank you very much for your advice. And hey, look at this. I learned something from the internet today. That's good because that means I won't have to open this window when I'm cooking in the middle of winter. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should drain some of this extra liquid here so that I can get some, try to crisp these skins up. So let me see how I can do that. This handle grip isn't fitting. Okay. Now comes a new adventure. Since all my stuff is wrapped up or packed up, let me quickly see what I can find. Here's something that should work. I just have to be careful that it doesn't catch on fire. That's all. Huh. Where did those tongs go? Here they are. Much better. Now let's get these things here so that they don't stick to the pan. Yeah, one thing I'm going to have to do immediately after this is dig out my chainmail scrubber. Nonetheless, as I said, thank you very much for your advice on the vent fan. I did not know that. These are probably going to be done in, I hope, just a couple of minutes or so. And so there we are. We are indeed cooking with gas. Okay, Sam Cook, tell me please how, before I jump out here, found it. Your microwave should have a fan under it. Okay, about the vent fan. Oh, Cynthia Wesley. Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, we learn every day. Thank you, Internet. In Western New York, we've had so little rain that even the weeds are doing poorly. Oh, my condolences, Val. Deglaze the pan. Won't need the chainmail. Well, there is that. Used to go to Dallas area for NHRA. Gas has to have a vent due to the gas fumes. It's a code thing. Very good point, Rick. Again, that's another thing I did not consider. That's all good news. So thank you so much. Okay, sandwich with another hot pan. Oh, I see. You mean press down on it. Well, that's certainly possible. Speedy skinny, though, says Anne. Well, yeah, as I said, this is just something I wanted to give it a try. Not sure if these things are crisping up the way I would have liked, but they're definitely browning, though. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This doesn't look so bad, does it? So, no, I don't think so. I just want to be sure they're thoroughly done. And then when they do, it's like it's almost going to be a side for the Spiedies. So anyway, yes, indeed, those are Spiedies from the wild areas of Binghamton, New York. There are several areas of New York that seem to have their own specialty foods. Like, for instance, Buffalo, New York was the home of Buffalo hot wings, and it's not because of buffalo, not the cow or the cattle buffalo, but because it came from Buffalo. Rochester, New York is, of course, the home of the garbage plate. And here again, we've got Binghamton and their Spiedies. And, of course, there's New York City with about 200 different foods that are native to New York City. For the record, I'm about a 3-hour drive or so from New York City, so it's still something of a hike, but not impossible. Again, I'm in mid-state New York, pretty much right by the border of Pennsylvania. I'm only about an hour's drive or so from Scranton. So maybe I'll go and visit the Dunder Mifflin factory, paper company. Who knows? All right. Anyway, the sides actually get and stay hotter and increase cooking area on the bottom of the wok. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I am really looking forward to using my cast iron wok on this stove, too. That is yet another thing I'm definitely going to have to do as soon as I unpack that. So, Buffalo, New York is a home of beef on weck. Gas stoves are being outlawed here in California. Oh, my condolences, Clicquot, if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm curious about the garbage plate. Oh, and the garbage plate. We did this here, in fact, on April Fool's Day. If you look up the April Fool's video, although it is about an hour and a half long, you will see that there. However, the short answer is that in Rochester, when they talk about the garbage plate, basically that came from college students in the area. In that, in late night, they would go to a late night restaurant, one of those cheap places to to eat, and they would typically go up to the to the counter and said, "I'll take a plate of whatever garbage you have." And what they would end up with is one plate mounted on with a huge amount of food. We're talking like home fries, hamburger, um, a special kind of chili that really reminds me of Cincinnati chili, mounds and mounds of it, and they call it the garbage plate because it was so popular. And yes, if you are in the area of New York, I think it's time to turn this stove off. If you are in the area of New York, of Rochester, you definitely want to get yourself a garbage plate. One restaurant, in fact, in Rochester has trademarked the name garbage plate. So most of the time in Rochester, you'll see them selling things like trash plates instead. But it's the same, essentially the same thing. Okay, yeah, they are indeed starting to crisp up now. So I'd say we are ready and we are done. Let's get that plate out. So there we are again. Here are our Spiedies, and as a bonus, the Speedy skins. Speedy skinnies, as you call them. Which means one last thing to do here. And that is get a plate. Move back over to the island here. Like I said, among other things, I'm going to have to learn how to move the camera during these live videos here. That's all going to be a learning experience that you folks are going to be witness to. Oh boy. Let me put down the mic for a second. There we are. Because now all we have to do is lay out a couple of sandwich buns. Sandwiches. There we are. And this is the last step. Like I said, most of the time, I understand traditionally, Spiedies are supposed to be eaten without any kind of sauce. Although I understand people still drown their Spiedies in sauce anyway, just because people are like that. Nonetheless, there's one. There's another. Come on. And again, they usually use chicken breast because people like chicken breast, but I like dark meat. It's juicier, and I think it tastes better. And number 3. But nonetheless, there we are. So, for our first night in my kitchen, in my new kitchen, we've got something local here. Say hello again to the Binghamton Speedy. Anybody who feels that this is not a good job, please say so. I am always open to constructive criticism. I am very much interested in people who are people making honest comments about this. So, thought you would wait. Papa adopted? Oh, okay. We'll see what that means. Anyway, let's see. I can turn the camera either to the food or to the cast iron. Yeah. Buns, yes. Sliders, yes. You could say that. But as I said, this apparently is how they traditionally make Spiedies. Well, no, that's not quite true. Again, they cook the Spiedies right on the skewer. Then they put the skewer into the plate, into the sandwich, squeeze the bun, and pull out the skewer. That's normally how they do that. In fact, one Lupo's, the speedy maker, one of them is within walking distance of my new home. So yeah, I'm kind of in trouble, aren't I? Nonetheless, this was not hard to make either. That sure did not take long, did it? Look up this recipe online. As I said, it's easily available with a quick web search. And again, it's Lupo's, Lupo apostrophe S, Speedy. And again, Speedy is spelled, well, Google will correct you, but Speedy is spelled Spiedie. Maybe I should even type that into the chat here, in fact. Spiedie. That is a speedy. But as I said, Google is smart enough, it will correct you. Anyways, so if you want to make speedies, that's really not that hard, is it? There are some variations on this that use things like mint in addition to the marinades that we've seen here. I simply did not have some mint available because, as I mentioned, I've just moved in and there are a lot of stuff I have to restock. Nonetheless, hello, Christine Jackson. Yeah, I'll take, yeah, in other words, you'll have a plate of this garbage? Yes, I agree. What did you season with? Jadine Neely. Number one, you can look up the recipe or you can watch the beginning of this video. Briefly, as I said, these are chicken pieces that have been marinated for several hours using a fair amount of olive oil, fair amount of lemon juice, and a fair amount of vinegar. So there's definitely a vinegar taste to that. To that, we add a lot of the usual spices that everybody knows about: garlic powder, parsley, oregano, basil, which again, as I mentioned, is similar to the mint taste, along with your usual salt and pepper. There's really nothing to it, is there? I mean, it's nothing too esoteric. I mean, anybody would have this stuff lying at home. So there's a suggestion. And these again are Spiedies. Nice way to spend this first time in my kitchen, though, in my new kitchen. Thank you once again, everybody, for that. Let's take a look at this, shall we, right now that it's all cooling down. There we are. As I mentioned already, we've got the Finex and we've got the possible favorite there in the background. Also on the right is another thing I've shown quite a bit, and that is the Wagner aluminum Dutch oven. All my cast iron, well, almost all my cast iron is still lying around in boxes. As I said before, one project that is absolutely necessary. I think I can turn off this range now. Once again, thank you for your suggestion of using that range fan. I did not know that. Anyway, my project, hopefully by next weekend or so, I will be able to rebuild the cast iron racks and get my collection out so that it will be easily accessible for future videos, which I definitely intend on making on a much more regular basis. I really want to settle down in some kind of a routine where I get to work during the day and make videos at night. However, because there are like 1,000 things to do in this place, I can see I'm still going to have, it's really going to take up pretty much all of my time. So even though I'm living by myself in a 2-story but small home, I am not going to be bored, not for a long time. I have a lot of things to do here. Turner Fowler, how are the cats doing? The cats are adjusting to this new place. I think Trouble is already at the point where he's becoming bored, unfortunately. He's demanding a lot of attention, and I've got to do things about that. Jamie, as I mentioned already, because, again, we were not a couple. We were never an item. And so it really meant at the time that I had to move. So Jamie, on the other hand, she is still taking care of the apartment at this time. And there's some drama going on there that I do not talk about on the internet. Don't forget the 2 fur overlords. Yes, exactly. Where is your fallout shelter sign? It is in one of these bins. In fact, I came across it today as I was doing that. The apartment smoke detector is back in my old place, and that is one thing that I do not miss. On the other hand, yet another task I have to do here is I have to check the batteries in the existing smoke detectors and make sure that they're good. As far as I know, yes, Jamie was indeed getting a new place. I actually don't have many details about that, and I do apologize. But this is what I mean. It's like so many things to do. If I look around in any direction, there's something that still needs to be done. Whether it's making sure I have the proper amount of silverware, whether it's really cleaning and scrubbing the floors and the windows in this place, or making sure the all of the lights are replaced with energy saving light bulbs, or going out onto the outside deck where, yeah, there's a deck out there, by the way. However, the deck is going to have to be weatherproofed. There's a fence surrounding the property, and I'm going to actually have to make a project of driving new screws into every one panel on that fence, because the person or the previous owner used a nail gun to put up that fence, and those nails sucked. So I definitely need to reinforce the fence, or put a lock on the garage, or make sure the attic is insulated, and so on and so on and so on. And that's what I mean. It's just never ending. Oh, and I am going to be very, very busy. Did you pack the smoke detector? No. I wanted to smash that smoke detector with a sledgehammer. If only that it wasn't mine, that I didn't do that. And as I mentioned, I have to take care of. I have to check the smoke detectors here as well. With a gas stove, get a fire extinguisher. I have 2 fire extinguishers already, thank goodness, and I did make sure to take them with me. One is a standard fire extinguisher, and one is a kitchen fire extinguisher, the one you use on grease fires. So yeah, handyman skills, well, I don't know about that, but it's definitely going to be a learning experience, Clico. So going to take outside on the grill. As soon as, hey, I could actually get a grill. I have an outside. You know how I've been saying all these years I was living in an apartment. There was no open flames rules. Well, guess what? I can grill. I can take my cauldron right out into the yard and make something really fancy right there on my own property. And you better believe that when Halloween comes around, that's what I'm going to be doing, getting out my cauldron again to pass out candy to the kids. Yeah, that's the fire prevention in me. Learn to not to burn. Oh, I agree with you. Absolutely. Believe me. There is, I mean, I'm using an open flame here, really pretty much for the first time here. I really have to be careful. And I will gladly accept any comments and criticisms and advice about that. For that reason, safety has to be the number one concern here. Number 2 is having fun, both of which I want to do. Large sportsman grill, that's one, for example. Okay. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I mean, even though we've been doing this for like going to an hour and a half, I'm actually not sure I'm going to make it this time, because as I mentioned, I have been exhausted every single night here so far, because there has been so much to do. So I can only apologize for that. But here's another example. I ordered, as I mentioned, a carpet, or a rug rather, for the bedroom. It arrived. I literally saw it lying on the porch today. It was delivered a day early. It's an 80-pound rug that I am going to have to drag upstairs. And as I said, that's going to be my weekend project, trying to cut and lay out the rug properly. Don't overwhelm yourself. No, definitely not. That's the other thing. Yes, and thank you for the advice. I really do have all the time in the world here. I have years if need be. Although my friends who live in Oneonta have already pretty much forced me to promise that I'm going to have a nice big housewarming party when the house is ready. So that is going to be fun in itself. Weather been crazy. Yeah, the weather wasn't too bad here. I'll say that. At least not too bad. On the other hand, Binghamton is one of those areas that competes with Seattle in terms of the number of rainy days in the year. So I'm definitely going to have to be used to being in the rain. Huh. Carpet laying is not an easy task. Yeah, tell me about it. So this is going to be yet another one of those learning experiences. We'll see how it turns out. But I recommend Sabatier silverware. Oh yeah, here's a funny thing. I mean, check some of this silverware out and see if you can see what's different about this. Namely, that it's gold plated. I already went flea marketing on Sunday to help find stuff to that I needed for the place. Stuff like dish hand soap for the bathroom and so on. And I came across a set of gold plated silverware. I'm convinced that these probably came from a wedding set. They're actually pretty heavy. So, what? No, I do not think this stuff is solid gold. As I said, this is probably one of those wedding sets that they sell. And if anything, it might be coated with a micro thin coating of gold. I hope it's gold and hope it's not something toxic. But regardless, I like the heft of these things, and I'm quite happy to have found them. I am going to have to replace my spork. My spork was unfortunately lost within the past month or so, and I'm kind of mad about that. Handsome Stone, welcome to home ownership, where you lose your mind trying to figure out what the hell the previous owner was thinking with their handiwork. Yeah, tell me about it. And their never ending projects. Yes. In fact, that was my brother who has owned his own home for a decade or more. He gave me the same warning. Yeah. Welcome to the wonders of home ownership. And he says, I hate owning a home, but it's really the best option. And yeah, so far there are some advantages that I'm already enjoying, like having all of this space for one. I mean, this thing is easily twice and more than twice the size of my old apartment. So I definitely have a lot of space to work with. I just have to be sure not to be a hoarder, in fact. When his body shut down, it's going to be down. Oh, yeah, for Papa Dan. And I do hope everything's going okay there, Papa Dan, with your vision and everything. So, nonetheless, I'm also going to try to keep the whining to a minimum. I mean, I have aired a lot of personal stuff here on the internet, which means it's going to be out there worldwide forever. That's not so bad. I enjoy that. I mean, if I put a personal touch in some of these things, well, that's how I like it. I just want to try to avoid drama. Namely, that it's not like I'm going to say, hi, I need to report this really awful thing that happened with my neighbor the other day. No, I'm not going to do that. If anything, if I talk about personal stuff, I want to try to keep it on a positive note as much as possible. Oh, Owego has a nice antique market. I've been there. As a matter of fact, the Owego Antique Center. You see, I am actually, well, I shouldn't say familiar with this area, but I've driven through this area quite a few times in road trips over the past decade or so. I've actually sought out antiques in this area, and yes, you're right. I have found some good things there at that Owego Antique Center. Sometime in the next month, yeah, I'm going to be heading out there again. So yes, that is good. I'm looking forward to it. Is that a pressed tin ceiling? Oh, you're talking about this, I guess. I'm not sure what it is. They must that some kind of it is definitely a metal plating though that they have here at the top of this. This does not cover the entire ceiling. It's only right here by the window, meaning that it was obviously meant to put it was put in there, especially when they installed this kitchen and that light there on the on the window. The kitchen stuff looks pretty new. The house itself, for the record, is very old because here's other interesting thing I learned. This apparently is a law that they only have in New York. When you actually become a homeowner and you sign the title to this home, the bank is legally required to furnish you with copies of every single title, ownership title used for every single previous owner of this home. And when that happened, I was given this folder full of documents dating back to the 1920s. Apparently, this home was actually built in 1920. There have been a lot of improvements to it since then, but there are signs of it, not including in the upstairs. There's actually this little hole in the floorboards. If you've read my Facebook, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Um, in the days of the Great Depression and Prohibition, as you know, quite a few people actually put these little hiding spaces in their homes using fake or cut floorboards. Well, I came across one of those, a little hiding place. And who knows, maybe I'll use it. I don't know what for. However, oh yeah, the cat, yeah, Trouble especially, he loves going up and down the stairs. But yes, Trouble just yesterday, 2 days ago, he discovered that little hiding place and he got into it, which means for a while he was actually crawling in the ceiling. And I was petrified. I thought he was going to hurt himself or even get outside. But it turned out that he was just playing around as usual, because when I shone a light into that crawl space, I saw him sitting there about 10 feet away, well out of reach, with a nice smug look on his face. He was very pleased with himself. So after he finally came out of that crawl space because he was bored and I tempted him out with treats, um, I put a heavy strong box over that hole so that he can't get into there again. So I'll have to figure out something for it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I will say that Trouble is a name that fits him. He's very friendly, though, as some folks have found out. So I'm very happy about that. How many cats do you own? Two. I have Trouble, and there's Miss Mobley. Both they are siblings, and in fact, they are just past their second birthday. So they have long lives ahead of them yet. I could do that, hide a cast iron gift for future owner. Yeah, I should put some kind of a treasure in there for people to find. Well, that's something to consider at some point in the near future. Anyway, yeah, so as I said, I guess I can only go back to the beginning at this point, folks, and thank everybody for showing up here. When they scare themselves, they can. Yes, exactly, Anne. So, and thank you for showing up here, Anne, and thank you for your help as well recently. And thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody, by the way, as I said, for showing up here tonight. I mean, I'll say again that the last 3 weeks I had to cancel this, unfortunately, especially because things are so chaotic and so busy. They're still busy, but I was determined to do this live video tonight, especially as a way of relaxing and finally having some fun. And this has been fun. I got to play with a gas stove tonight, and this is going to be one of many times I'll be able to use this stove. And boy, did that turn out good. I mean, yeah, I mean, that chicken, in fact, let me have a piece of the Speedy right now. Mm. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Can we explore the attic? Yes, we will be getting around to that. Mm-hmm. I love the vinegar taste of this Speedy. I've had a vinegar fetish my whole life, and so this definitely appealed to me. But I will say again, that is called a Speedy, folks, and it is worth it. It was easy to make, and it is quite good too. So by the time next week comes around, I'm hoping I will have unpacked at least some of the cast iron, and we will see what happens next. But most importantly, here we are, and thank you everybody for showing up, because it's you folks who make these live videos so much fun. I can only thank you so much for that. You're gonna have to figure out some better lighting too. Okay. And having said all that, though, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cynthia Wesley and William Hurt, Handsome Stone, Rick Stumbow, and so many others. Once again, this is where in Romper Room, she looks through the video at the end. I'm sorry, looks through the mirror at the end and names everybody's names. And I can't name everybody, but still, thank you, everybody, for showing up. And yes, thank you for, well, you're welcome for the intro to Speedies. Please give it a try because that was fun and tasty. And that's really what the most important part of this cooking is, that it should be fun and delicious. Thank you so much to everybody. We'll be seeing a lot more of my kitchen and my stove and my home and my cats. So for now, everybody relax. And like Sam Cooke says, have a good night, everybody. Thank you for everything. See you next Wednesday.